Did you know that addictive behaviors, including drinking and drug use, is considered a coping skill? Of course you knew that. You know everything. Unfortunately, the relief from alcohol and drug use is short-term, while the ramifications are quite long. Stick around with me and we will talk about the different ways that we cope as human beings and why sometimes those don't turn out to be the healthiest ways of coping. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Raul, and I am the
Wolf Counselor.
Our ways of coping can be summed up in these three categories. Number 1, avoiding. Number 2, surrender. Number 3, overcompensating. They are not in this particular order. Each way you and I decide to cope is based on our innate temperament, whatever we are born with. In fact, some studies on twins have been conducted, and it has been found that even though both of them experienced the exact same traumatic event, each one of them ended up coping in their own way. So let's start with avoiding. We can avoid it with almost anything, right? It could be with binge watching, with our phone, it could be with other addictive behaviors, it could be with eating, it could be with drug use, alcohol use. We are trying to avoid a feeling, an emotion, an experience, trying to avoid thinking about something, right? It might be avoiding the feeling of discomfort. Of course, alcohol and drug use falls under avoidance. The problem is that it becomes addictive. Over time, the ability to find that same relief that you initially found from it is going to diminish. In fact, that is one of the questions that we as professionals ask people about their drug use. Have you needed more amounts to feel the same or the desired effect? The second way we cope is by surrendering. This is where a person has realized that it's much harder to make some effort to change this than it is to remain the same. This is merely giving up. Giving up because it is more difficult, more challenging to do something about it. Giving up because you believe this is the way it's supposed to be. It could be somebody in an abusive relationship and just deciding, I'm gonna stay here, where else am I gonna go? Who else am I gonna find? That is a form of surrendering. And this one of the most common ones, is overcompensating. And this is seen in many different forms and fashions. Tell you a story. You wanna hear a story? You wanna hear a story. I'd like to tell you a story about a person I worked with years ago. I happened to run into him at the supermarket years after working with him. When I first knew him, he was a little heavyset, a little husky feller, a little plump, a little fluffy. And when we ran into each other, I noticed he looked great. He had lost a ton of weight. He was dressed fairly nice. And I said, man, you look fantastic. Probably didn't use that word. You look great, in other words, right? A guy telling a guy, dude, you look good. You look good, bro. Broham. And he gave me this awkward smile.
Yeah.
And he told me exactly what happened.
I got a divorce.
And you could tell he was uncomfortable telling me that. But his answer for losing all the weight was the divorce, right? And I call this divorce diet. People get separated or divorced, and one or the other overcompensates as a form of coping by either getting in shape and proving to the other person that you let go of something good, right? None of you have ever done that. And it feels great to lose a ton of weight and to fit into some old clothes, and people see you and say, oh my gosh, you look fantastic. Just like all the other coping mechanisms that I talked about, they can help to get you through the difficult moments of this experience. They will not exactly help you deal with or help you heal from the actual experience. I met tons of people that have overcompensated and yet say, I still don't feel the same. I still feel empty. I still feel incomplete. I'm still unhappy. Let's take, for example, people that grow up in alcoholic homes. There's one in the family that we call the hero, the person that's usually closest to the enabler or the oldest in the family, the oldest son or daughter. If it's the oldest son, he takes on the role of, hey, you're the man of the house now. Or if it's the oldest daughter, she becomes the new mom or the little mom. And they tend to be known as overachievers or high achievers later in life. While most people in the family are still struggling with the dysfunction, they have been able to use their coping mechanism of high achievement as a way of soothing their own wounds. The problem is that doesn't necessarily bring satisfaction. Although some of these coping mechanisms can be adaptive, meaning that whatever you decided to do for yourself can work for you in other areas, right? It won't bring you the peace that you are looking for. So here's some tips on how to cope with our emotions. The first thing is, don't judge your emotion. Don't look at it as good or bad. Don't judge it as, I hate this is intolerable. Just take it for what it is. Explain and describe that feeling, that emotion for yourself, but don't judge it. For now, I'd like you to think of an emotion as a signal to pay closer attention to whatever's happening. Do something physically to change the experience you are having. For example, if you feel elevated, your blood pressure, your heart rate is going crazy, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm ready to blow up and say something, instead do something with that energy, right? Work out. If you have a punching bag, punch the punching bag. Take a shower, take a walk, something to change what is happening physically. But whatever it is, you don't want it to be something that's going to be problematic for you in the long run. So ask yourself, if I do this, will this cause me other issues if I keep using this mode of coping? Tip number 2 is to watch something that's going to change your emotional state. It could be a cat video. It could be motivational talks and hearing a speaker. It could be an inspirational movie, a funny movie. It could be a scary movie. Might even be going to a meeting, anything to change the emotional state. So the last tip is, whatever you do, don't make the situation worse. Don't do anything that's going to invite more problems and more things that you're going to have to deal with. Thank you again for stopping by. I am the
Wolf Counselor. Wolf Counselor.
Don't forget to like this video, hit the notification button, and also subscribe for more videos just like this one.